My name is Tamsin Meaney, and I'm going to, in this video, present to you the project that we are going to be doing, which is about learning about teaching argumentation for critical mathematics education. And if it sounds complicated, it is complicated. So I'm going to go through bit by bit what we're doing and why we're doing it. So one of the things that we are doing is we are looking at multilingual classrooms in Norway, an area which we know is very common, but particularly in mathematics education has had very little research. And what we're really wanting to do is to think about how we can use other aspects of teacher education, like introducing pre-service teachers to ICT and introducing pre-service teachers to modelling, and connect them back to how school students can actually use argumentation in situations where the mathematics becomes valuable. So the mathematics is critical for understanding the problem. It's not an extra thing that the problem just provides an avenue for using the mathematics. The mathematics is actually critical for solving the problem. So this project is funded by the Norwegian Research Council, and it's to be researched at the Western Norway University of Applied Sciences. So you can see in the map that we are mostly going to be in Bergen, but our institution is actually got campuses both at Sogndal and at Stord, and mathematics educators in both of those campuses will also be involved in this project. There is about 17 researchers who will be connected to this project and 4 PhD students. So it is a very large project. We're particularly looking at pre-service teacher education. We're looking at those pre-service teachers who want to teach in the first 7 years of school, and we're looking at the compulsory mathematics courses. So teacher education students or pre-service teachers in Norway, they have to do 2 semesters worth of mathematics, regardless of what subject that they will actually specialise in. Some of these students will go on and they will do more mathematics courses, but every student teacher, every pre-service teacher must do these 2 compulsory mathematics courses. And we're going to follow the students through 3 cycles of these courses. So we will collect data in the second half of 2018, and that semester we will then again look at in the autumn of 2019 and the autumn of 2020. We will then look at the first semester in 2019 and the first semester in 2020 and the first semester in 2021, which are all the spring semesters here in the Northern Hemisphere. So for this project, our primary objective is to document in a systematic way what supports and hinders pre-service teachers in learning about teaching argumentation for critical mathematics education in multilingual classrooms. So our emphasis is very much on reflecting on our own teaching as teacher educators and how that actually moves into what pre-service teachers do, particularly when they go out onto their practicum experiences and then out into classrooms. So it's a very reflective process, and we really need to know what helps us to do this and what hinders us to do this. So, what are we going to research? It is a complicated project, not just because it goes over time, but we're going to be looking at the planning, the implementing and the evaluating both of our teacher education work and what happens in school classrooms. So as teacher educators, we will look at how we work with pre-service teachers, we will look at how those pre-service teachers then work with school students, and we will look at how the classroom teachers of those classes where the pre-service teachers are doing their practicum are also affected by this project. And that's a really important part of this project because it's in relationship with Bergen municipality and the schools that they have here, which have a high proportion of students who have other languages than just Norwegian in their background, and how to make use of the resources in those languages. So we're thinking about what we can do which can make a difference in our local schools, but we're also hoping that this will have implications not just for other places in Norway, but elsewhere in the world. Immigration is a huge issue everywhere. So we're going to look particularly at our own planning as teacher educators for these compulsory mathematics courses. And we will look at how we actually implement our ideas. So moving from our planning into our workshops with the pre-service teachers. And we're looking at that through, as I say, ICT and or modelling. So those will be the vehicles for thinking about how to actually improve our practices. We will then evaluate those mathematics education workshops, the assessments that we get the pre-service teachers to do, and the outcomes. And in outcomes, we're looking at a variety of things. What actually happens in the practicum periods, but also how our own teaching might have changed and our own understandings of what we do might have changed, as well as what happens with the pre-service teachers. We're going to follow the pre-service teachers as they go out into practicum, and we're going to look at how they plan, they implement, and they evaluate the tasks which support the school students. And we anticipate that we will be able to work with those pre-service teachers in that planning, in the implementation, and in the evaluation, as well as with the classroom teachers into the classes that these pre-service teachers will actually be doing the work with the school students. So from there, we will also want to see how we can work with the school teachers, because we have this collaboration agreement with Bergen Municipality, so that we want to follow those school teachers for those same classes and actually look at how we can plan and implement and evaluate tasks for argumentation for critical mathematics education, which goes beyond just looking at the practicum period where the pre-service teachers are working there. Our research questions. They're quite complicated as well, but we're getting there. So we're looking at argumentation and modelling. So how can pre-service teachers learning about modelling contribute to developing argumentation for critical mathematics education? And the second question is, how do pre-service teachers support school students to develop multimodal argumentation through modelling activities in multilingual classrooms? The other focus that we have is on ICT and argumentation. So how can pre-service teachers learning about how to use ICT contribute to developing argumentation for critical mathematics education? And the second question, which was related to the one about modelling, is how do pre-service teachers support school students to develop multimodal argumentation with ICT in multilingual mathematics classrooms? The third set of research questions that we have is about argumentation in multilingual mathematics classrooms. And here we want to specifically look at how we can think about the resources that are brought into here. So how can pre-service teachers learning about teaching argumentation for critical mathematics education contribute to deep learning of mathematics in multilingual classrooms? So how can we make a difference to the school students? But also, how do pre-service teachers support school students to develop multimodal argumentation in multilingual mathematics classrooms? One would have hoped that we'd already have some insights into that, but the actual aspect of pre-service teachers doing that has been very under-researched throughout the world. And how do pre-service teachers' views on good argumentation in multilingual mathematics classrooms change as a result of the intervention? So we want to see whether what we do with the pre-service teachers actually changes their understanding about the sorts of activities that they should be doing with school children. And that is the end of that presentation. Very brief, but hopefully informative about what we're planning to do over the next 4 years.